At 5:23 p.m., as the sun sagged low over the Red Sea, an F-16 from the 421st Fighter Squadron carved a white arc across the quiet Yemeni sky. From inside the cockpit, Major Ryan Cooper watched the coastline slip beneath his wings, a landscape of dry valleys, abandoned fishing villages, and the faint geometric scars of war. He had flown this route countless times in recent months, escorting U.S. naval groups as they steamed cautiously past Yemen's dangerous shoreline. Most days were uneventful. Most days the danger remained invisible, radars humming quietly, threats hidden behind horizon lines and mountains. But today would not be one of those days. Somewhere near Hodeidah, nestled behind a cluster of low, sand-colored buildings, a Houthi surface-to-air missile battery lay waiting. Its operators, emboldened by months of Iranian assistance and frustrated by their inability to disrupt U.S. operations, had been tracking U.S. aircraft with increasing boldness. And now, they had locked onto Ryan's F-16. They waited precisely 6 seconds, long enough to verify the radar lock, short enough to avoid giving their target time to react, before they pressed the launch command. A flame erupted from the SA-6 launcher. A missile shot upward, trailing a streak of fire as it accelerated past Mach 2. Then another missile, and another. Back in the cockpit, Ryan didn't see the launch. He couldn't. But he felt something shift, a soft, almost imperceptible buzz through his helmet, as his AN/APG-83 radar painted a new, unfamiliar signature, a threat. The computer confirmed it a moment later. Missile launch detected. 42 kilometers, he muttered to himself, not a curse, but a quiet, steadying breath, and shoved the control stick forward. The F-16 dropped from 30,000 feet to 15,000 in a steep, roaring dive. The G-forces pressed him into his seat. The horizon twisted, the cockpit shook. The first rule of missile survival: break their fire control solution, or die trying. Because the SA-6 wasn't a simple weapon, it was semi-active, meaning the missile itself didn't see its target until the final seconds. Houthi ground radars had to continuously illuminate the aircraft with enough electromagnetic energy to guide the missile through the sky. If the F-16 could break that illumination, even for a moment, the missile would lose coherence and drift off target. But the Houthi crew was disciplined. Even through the dive, their radar held the lock. As Ryan pulled out of the steep descent, he checked his radar screen again. It was worse than he expected. Multiple missiles inbound, 18 seconds to impact. His radar could normally track up to 20 targets with ease, even in crowded skies. But not while he was throwing the jet around like a leaf in a storm. Every aggressive turn degraded his radar's ability to see past 60 degrees off bore sight. Targets vanished into blind cones. The screen danced with glitches. He didn't know if 2 missiles were coming, or 5, or 10. But he knew he was nearly blind. That was when the F-16's second Guardian awakened. Mounted under each wing pylon were small, unimpressive-looking pods, so ordinary in appearance that civilians rarely noticed them in photos. But they were lifesavers. The Turma Pylon Integrated Dispensing System, or PIDS, each one packed with ultraviolet sensors capable of detecting missile exhaust at distances up to 10 kilometers. And in that moment, every sensor chirped at once. Missile approach Sector 2, missile approach Sector 4, missile approach Sector 7. 12. MJU-50B infrared flares burst from the aircraft in rapid succession, white-hot streaks spinning away like falling stars. 24 RR-180 chaff bundles followed, filling the air with metallic clouds half a kilometer wide, glittering in the fading daylight. But the SA-6s were not fooled. Not yet. Ryan checked his threat screen again. 12 seconds. His breathing remained steady, years of training sharpening his mind to a single point of focus. He had one tool left. Underneath the F-16's belly lay a long, cylindrical pod. the AN/ALQ-184 jammer. Cold, silent, and deadly, if used correctly. He toggled it on. Instantly, a burst of electronic noise flooded the airwaves, broadcasting deceptive signals at precisely the frequencies the SA-6 fire control radar relied upon. Digital RF memory technology simulated phantom aircraft, false Doppler shifts, chaotic reflections. In 1 second, the missiles lost 70% of their accuracy. In 2 seconds, they were no longer following him. In 3 seconds, they were ballistic, screaming past at Mach 2.8 before tumbling harmlessly into the sea. Ryan exhaled slowly. That had been close. Too close. But the day wasn't done. 44 minutes later, 6:07 p.m., far from the roar of afterburners and the claustrophobic hum of a fighter cockpit, an MQ-9 Reaper drone cruised silently 50 miles northeast of Hodeidah. Flown by operators seated thousands of miles away, the unmanned aircraft drifted over a patchwork of roads, villages, and Houthi encampments. Its task was simple: track supply convoys, report movements, observe. But the Houthis were furious. They had failed to bring down the F-16. Their missiles had been humiliated in broad daylight, and their commanders demanded a victory, any victory. So when they saw the slow-moving MQ-9, they didn't hesitate. Their radar lit up. Another SA-6 missile roared skyward. The Reaper was slower than the F-16, less agile, less protected, but not helpless. Its Pandora missile warning system caught the launch within seconds. 8 seconds later, the aircraft's AN/LE-47 countermeasure dispenser spat out flares, while the drone began climbing sharply past 15,000 feet, attempting to place the incoming missile outside its vulnerable 30-degree cutout beneath its belly. The missile followed. More flares. More chaff. A widening cloud of decoys. The ALR-69 radar warning receiver, capable of tracking emissions from half a gigahertz to 20 gigahertz, fed rapid alerts to the operators. The system gave them 2 seconds of reaction time per launch. 2 seconds that made the difference between losing a drone and losing a warship's worth of intelligence. When the Reaper finally returned to base, its right wing bore the scars of 12,000 steel pellets. The missile's fragmentation warhead had detonated nearby, peppering the airframe like a shotgun blast. But the drone lived, and would fly again. Washington responds news of the attacks, especially against a manned aircraft, reached Washington within minutes. Inside the White House, President Trump paced angrily as briefers summarized the data. A foreign militia, backed by Iran, had fired multiple missiles at U.S. personnel. This could not stand. He wanted a response, fast, loud, and unmistakable. By midnight, the order was drafted. 8 hours after the initial attack, the guided missile destroyer USS Spruance received encrypted instructions from Central Command. Close distance, prepare weapons, strike the SA-6 battery. Ordinarily, the Navy would have used Tomahawk cruise missiles for such a strike. Reliable, long-range, and precise. But tonight wasn't ordinary. Tonight the Navy chose something different, something symbolic. The SM-6, a missile designed for intercepting enemy aircraft, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles. A missile capable of Mach 3.5 speeds. A missile with a 1,500 kilo warhead. A missile normally reserved for the most dangerous threats. Using it for a ground strike was not just operational, it was psychological. A message. 3:45 a.m. 2 SM-6 missiles burst from the destroyer's VLS cells, streaking into the night sky in brilliant arcs of fire. Their speed was astonishing, just 6 minutes to cross hundreds of miles. Houthis had built a dense air defense network, but it didn't matter. Nothing they possessed could stop an SM-6 in surface strike mode. The missiles slammed into the SA-6 launcher and its accompanying IS-91 radar station, vaporizing the vehicles and killing 8 operators instantly. But Washington was not done. The Houthis possessed more SA-6s, captured from the Yemeni government in earlier years, upgraded with Iranian support. They had fired at US forces once. They might again. So, beginning at 6 p.m. that evening, the first of 4 waves of FA-18s lifted from the deck of the carrier Harry S. Truman. Tonight, their payloads were not typical JDAMs or bunker busters. Tonight, they carried the AGM-150I-4 JSOW, a long-range, GPS-guided glide weapon capable of delivering 145 bomblets, or nearly 200 pounds of explosives, at standoff distances of 130 kilometers. Wave after wave of Navy jets struck storage bunkers near Sana'a. Explosions rippled across the desert. Dozens of missiles, launchers, and weapon stockpiles vanished in pillars of fire. To close the night, the USS Gravely launched 6 Tomahawks into the smoking ruins, erasing what remained. When the dust settled, U.S. forces had destroyed 14 Quaher M2 ballistic missiles, 3 Morse A-6 launchers, 23 anti-ship cruise missiles. The message was unmistakable. If the Houthis attacked U.S. aircraft again, the response would be even harsher. The conflict is far from over. The Houthis retain more missiles, more launchers, more capability, and more ambition. But after this series of retaliatory strikes, they now understand the consequences of engaging the United States directly. And so the question remains, could the U.S. do more to dismantle the Houthis' ability to wage war? Or has the message already been delivered? Only time, and the next launch plume rising from Yemen will tell.